Can't blame them. Good morning. We are live.
Good morning.
How are you? How are you? How are you?
I'm I'm great. Rest is essential,
Mm-hmm.
and it's essential part of life. You know what I mean? And just making that part of my foundation and
Mm-hmm.
how I do my work is, what's most important for me right now in my life.
Right.
Um, Before, rest wasn't a part of it. I just kept on moving. So as I'm getting older, seeing how that's important. So yeah, that that was that's what's there for me right now. What about you? Tell me what's up with you.
I'm trying to think. Oh, you know what? So I did something there. I was sitting down this week and I'm like, I need to figure out a way to leverage like my skill set immediately, you know. And so I hit up Crystal, so shout out to her. And I said, what is something that you think that I could teach that people would pay me for, like a skill set? And she sent like this audio, and I wish I could insert it here. It was, but basically to sum it up, it was courage. Like basically how my ability to like say something and just do it no matter what, that kind of thing. So anyway, she sends this long audio and I'm like, how do you teach courage? Like how the fuck do you, that's actually what I text back. Like, how do you teach courage? But then I sat down with Chat GPT, you know, and I pretty much played the audio that what she said, and I asked it to mirror back based on everything that it knows about me, to mirror back basically what she's saying, like how does this work? And literally, boom, it aligned. So I come up with this thing, the Do It Scared thing that I posted on Facebook. This all was in one day. So for me sitting on my computer, hitting Crystal up, and then spitting it back into ChatGPT. This was within an hour, and then literally me creating a Facebook post and posting it, and really just pretty much saying like, if you're, it was really directed for people who were like right there on the edge, like know they supposed to be doing something. You know what I'm saying? Know their skill set, know all the things, and just won't like leap, like won't do it. And literally, I'm like, okay, I text Crystal back with a screenshot, and this was just out of nowhere. Text her back with a screenshot, like, boom, posted it on social media. I'm just gonna do it, because I learned from myself that it's very important to collapse the time between me having a thought and doing something when I believe in it, when it's aligned, because then that eliminates all the space, the fear and all those questions, the things that your mind gonna do naturally, the more you
Right.
let it sit. And so I literally made the Facebook post, sent her the screenshot. I'm like, now I'm going to bed early. It was like 7:50. And I woke up the next morning to somebody literally responding to it. And this particular person, and the post is still up there. The thing that was holding him back was literally his stutter, his voice. You know what I mean? And so from there, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do something different. I'm going to pursue this, and I'm going to be intentional with this pursuit. This needs to end up in a Zoom, so that this becomes like the the thing. And so literally we engage. We set up the Zoom that day. I looked at the calendar, I'm like, it's 11:11. Had no idea, like, because I had just woke up first thing in the morning, saw the message. I'm like, I'm gonna just do it. I'm gonna do it scared. I'm going to do my own framework, right? And I looked over, it's 11:11. I'm like, it's 11:11. I'm just, some things I pay attention to, and some things I just don't, but some things I do, And so I'm like, it's 11:11. But we transition to a call, we line up the Zoom, we have the Zoom, we set up the Zoom for the following day, because I'm like, I'm wasting no time. So whenever he's ready, I'm ready. He sent me his availability. It was the next day, I'm available. We do the Zoom, and within that hour, literally, I'm like, oh yeah, you got to come on my podcast. So he'll be on my podcast in 2 weeks, because that was one of the things that he wanted to do, but was like, insecure of, because of the stutter, and he felt like he needed a co-host. So I'm like, okay, cool. So this gives you enough time to start finding your own co-host. You know what I'm saying? But you're going to come on my podcast and launch yours. and you're going to do it whether you have a co-host or not, because your voice, like literally, it was just the whole thing. But this week just showed me like my magic for real, and what happens when I'm intentional, how fast, things move. That led to me doing one more call yesterday. And it's just like, I'm like, okay, this week was good for me. It was very, very good for me. It just came down to locking in and being intentional, and collapsing time, and which alleviated a lot of fear.
Right. That's great.
So,
That's really great. So when my question is, with this courage like training is what I'm hearing. How is that? I think that is such a needed thing especially when people have ideas that they want to launch, but they just don't know how, or they don't think that you know how it is. Like people, you get stuck in,
mhm.
trying to figure it out instead of just doing it. Is this going to be like a training, something that you're going to do, or I mean, because it sounds really interesting, and I think it's a great offering to have with your skill set. Is that something that you're going to build out to, for people and create like
I
a
am. So
coaching thing or whatever? I'm
I think I'm trying to figure out the name for it. And I'm not even going to, again, I'm just not going to put too much thought into
sorry. Right.
it. But
Right.
yeah, I think the first step is just to open my books,
Right.
and to start just taking, people. And for me, I want to be intentional with how I get people, because it has to be a thing that specific to, like, they really are just right there on the edge, and and it's no disrespect, but nobody who's just like at the very beginning trying to figure it all out. Like, it's not that. It's literally, with me, it's like we're launching our next steps together.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? And so, and I only really want to do a max of 3 sessions, because there's no reason for you to have to be with me past that. You get what I'm saying? Other than, so for me, it's like a very specific group or a niche market. And so I'm thinking it'll be heavily referral based. So, just asking the people I work with specifically, just refer me to people who, because also you probably, if this is where you are, you probably are around a lot of people who are just right there as well. You get what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I'm opening the books. That's what it is.
That's dope. Well,
Go.
congratulations for being in your spirit and seeing this as a way that you can not only help to expand people but yourself, right?
Yeah.
And just jump in and getting it done. That's great.
Yes, yes, yes. So I see Barrett has joined us. I was kind of waiting
Oh,
for his
perfect.
screen to pop back on before I just blurted him out. And so, and then also, have you ever seen things where you like introduce the person and then you're like, you say the person name like Barrett Keithley, and then he doesn't show up, and then you got to say it again like Barrett Keithley. Okay, I see him. So I needed to make sure I wasn't go, read this bio, and then I'm Barrett Keithley, and then he gone somewhere with the baby. Okay, so this is gonna be a good one. I'm excited for this one. And you know what? As I was reading over his bio, because I like to pre-read things just so I can make sure I can pronounce all the words the first time. But I was reading it seriously. I was reading it and I'm like, wow, like I'm really around like some really amazing, like dope people. And I think sometimes when we're just around people who are big, you forget that. You know what I'm saying? Because you're so close up. And so as I was like reading this, I'm like, dang, like this what he like this man bio. You know what I'm saying? And I just think that it's super dope. So I'm gonna read it. And then obviously you have your own relationship with Barrett too. So I'm gonna read it, and then you can bring them up. You can say a piece, and then we'll bring them up. That's cool.
Sounds good. Yeah, sounds
Let's
good.
do it.
Let's go.
So Barrett Keithley is a multidisciplinary artist, curator, and community servant from the South Side of Chicago. He grew up in Roseland, also known, I'm going to say it as him, as the Wild Hunnets. Lord have mercy. Where his creative roots were shaped by both the challenges and the culture of his neighborhood. A self-taught artist with training in portrait and still life painting, Barrett uses his work to reflect the power, struggle, and beauty of communities that raised him. What began as a personal outlet quickly evolved into a full-scale creative career. Barrett has produced major murals. If you are, he gonna tell you if he one of the most mural up artists in the city. He gonna let you know it. If you done rolled past his mural, you done seen it. You done seen it. But Barrett has produced major mural projects across the city, from the South Side and the West Sides to the Loop, and commissions for organizations like NASCAR, the Lyric Opera, the Black McDonald Owners Association, and Chicago Loop Alliance. He is also the founder of a nonprofit called Paint the City, where he partners with Chicago's youth to create vibrant public art that tells community stories, inspires pride, and fosters creativity. Additionally, he owns Crown Bee Studios, a cultural platform designed to spotlight and support emerging Black creators. Barrett's work draws from Afrofuturism, street art, and ancestral memory. Whether exhibited in galleries or painted on the city walls, his art is rooted in a mission of service. And I know that to be true for a fact. To show people that their beauty, to show people their beauty, and in doing so, awakening their brilliance. So yeah, Vanessa, you do the honors.
Yeah, so Barrett is a very good colleague and friend. We met 5 years ago during the pandemic, actually. And I commissioned Paint the City to do a bunch of murals for the organization I was working with at the time on the West Side. So the project that I'm working on, that I'm creating at West Gallery and Cafe, is right next door to Pop Courts, with the iconic mural that I think a lot of people have seen. That'll be on the wall of the Out West Gallery and Cafe, and right next door to Pop Courts. So yeah, Barrett is a great friend, and we continue to collaborate on different art projects, and I'm just excited to have him with us today. So Barrett,
Let's is he present? Barrett, there he is.
Barrett, here he is.
I was scared for a second. I didn't want to. Barrett.
I heard you talking stuff.
Barrett, and then nobody.
Oh, snap. Let me take my hair like this.
What you doing, man?
What's up, y'all?
Big dog.
I'm good. I appreciate the introduction. I feel like the only thing I can really say when I get on here right now is I'm him. So,
yeah.
What a way to start a podcast today, and we're talking about gratitude. I love
it. Yeah.
I'm full of gratitude.
When you say I'm him, though, what does that mean? Because I think we do need to have space to really say that and know that and mean it. What does I'm him mean for you?
I think for me, I think it's a way to appreciate your own accomplishments. I think a lot of times we don't really appreciate what we've done, who we've been for ourselves. I think it was that Snoop Dogg. He had got the Walk of Fame, and at first he was like, I want to
thank
yeah. First, I want to thank me. Like, I want to thank me. It's like, cause like,
right.
Yeah. So it's like you want to thank yourself, because I feel like it's so taboo to thank yourself because of how society might play you, because you're cocky or overconfident or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about none of that. But for me, I like to say that because I've done a lot, and I've pushed through a lot, and you two specifically know the things that I've had to push through, and I've still pushed through. So I think to give ourselves a compliment for the accomplishments is important.
Yeah.
It is. I think it's important to notice who you are to the world, and I think that's what gratitude and appreciation does, right? And especially when you are a creator, right? Like when you're creating something that people get to see and that move them, it's like God, you know what I mean? So thank you for the work that you created. I get to have that beauty around me all the time, which is like love, you know what I mean? To be able to see this mural on a wall, or just to be able to, be around the artwork that you've created, it does make a huge difference. Um,
Yeah.
so I do have a question about
This is
gratitude.
gonna be a good one, y'all. I can feel it.
Yeah, like gratitude I think for me, is an essential part of how I move daily, right? And there's something that I noticed over the years with being in that space of gratitude. Um, and I just want to know from your perspective, how gratitude, how do you use that in your life and in your practice?
I think for me, like early on, like I was one of the early adapters to the Secret when it came out in like 2006. I remember exactly because
This man think he's Soldier Boy. I was the first
I
one.
was the first one. I was the first one.
Who
It was
you?
me.
What the kids say?
Nah,
Who you feel like? Who you?
nah, but look. I use my marketing terms.
Adapters. That's
Early adapter. I was
millennial.
an early adapter, dare I say, a maverick when it came to this science of mindset thing. No, because I was 18 in high school when the Secret came out, and I was about to transition to go to college, and I bought the DVD, and I remember watching it. First time watching it, I'm like, what the hell is this? This ain't no Secret. It's what?
You say you've been about. You created the Secret, huh?
No. It wasn't even that. It just
Be a funny one too, y'all, because I can't let up.
it wasn't that. It was like in my mind, so I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, just think about something that's gonna come to you at first, but then like I don't know, like something about it, because I was already in this mission of like, oh, I knew my mind had to be a certain way to get certain things, and so I feel like in a weird way, obviously that attracted me to find out that the Secret was the law. Well, they used the law of attraction. Come to find out there's more things to it, but as a foundation and as a base, I was like, okay. And one of the speakers said, you have to adopt an attitude of gratitude. And I remember like, oh snap! So I remember like literally gathering up all my friends in college and making them sit in my living room, because I had an apartment, and I was like, yo, we gotta sit in the living room, we gotta watch The Secret, y'all. This is the sauce. And I remember watching everybody's face take the same process that mine took when they first saw it. And it was like I had got like 10 friends to sit down and watch this thing. And out of the 10 friends, still like only one person ever like really adopted everything, and has been proven, myself and this person has been proven to be like successful at what we set our minds to. And it's like, yeah, I said attitude of gratitude. And I think for me, it's about it's about acceptance. You can't really have gratitude if you're not accepting your surroundings, or accepting that your inner reality creates your outer reality. And like, so, it's like when they say when your environment is messy or junky or something like that, then that reflects what you're going on the inside. And I know for a fact, like anytime I clean up, I feel real good. I feel fresh. I'm ready to like create anew, and it doesn't matter in all aspects, whether it's the studio, the house, the gallery, whatever, just my car, the yard, like all that stuff is like, oh, this
car part yet. I'm not.
Yeah. There's a junk spot in the mind somewhere. It's like that ain't been cleared yet. So.
I need to get there then. I'm happy to do that, bringing that up. I have a question, because I think what makes this interesting, when I was reading your bio, like I laughed when I said the Wild Hundreds, but no, it's really the Wild Hundreds. So, but you don't hear Black men specifically from the Wild Hundreds who believe the way that you do. So I'm wondering, like, how did that impact like your journey as a Black man trying to tell people the secret or share the secret with people who I'm sure didn't really want to hear it for the most part? You said it was just you and one of your other homies who decided to actually become first adopters or whatever,
early adapters.
Early adapters to the secret. Like, so for you, like, What is that like? Because you have so, I'm sure there's so many men. I guess the question I'm really getting to are for the ones who don't believe that this is possible as a Black man because of all the other things. Like it's just not it's not their way of thinking. How do you stand up to that?
I think early on, like when I was a kid in the hundreds, you know, walking up and down the street, going to Ada Park, Cooper Park, of course, whatever. And I'll be the kid. I was that kid like before like woke was woke. I was that kid. Like, hey, did you know that the prison systems was created by by the music industry to produce us? I was that kid. Like literally, I was that kid. All my friends were like, dude, what are you talking about, bro? We're talking about girls, man. We're talking about when we're going out. You know what I'm saying? Well, who gonna which crackhead we gonna get to? Oh, I know we gonna get to buy alcohol for the night.
Hey,
You know
I
what I'm
was
saying?
doing
We
that.
the age.
That friend.
Like I was that friend. Like I was that friend. Like, nah, we gotta elevate ourselves. Y'all, we gotta, So I think I don't know. I would say like my environment contextually, like within my home, because I had older siblings, help shape that type of mentality. Because I'm listening to Dead Prez, and if you know anything about Dead Prez, they're all about that revolutionary type stuff. And then I was also made to do book reports on like our people. So like Black people, Black American people, Aboriginal American people. So it's like, and then also from the aspect of African people and aspect of other Black of the diaspora. You know what I'm saying? So I had a really good wealth of knowledge of like who we were, not just like as Chicagoans, but like as we're around the world. And so with that, it established like a real sense of pride. And so as I started to just be a speaker of I don't know, truth, or speaker, I really want to say light, because truth is always kind of like, it's two sides to every truth. But to bring light to something, does not I don't necessarily feel like it's the full aspect of the truth, but it's enough to open up a door or something. It's enough to like spark something. So
Enough for people to make their own decision.
exactly. So I think for me, that's been my mission. That's been my calling. I was talking to Vanessa. And I was like, yo, I figure out what kind of leader I am. I'm like, yo, I'm the type of leader that people are not going to necessarily like always 100% get what I have to say immediately, but it's going to come to them. And I might not get like a thank you or you were right, but it's going to happen. And then I'm not the type of leader that needs to get thank you or pat in the back, just as long as the results get there. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like, I think that trained me up as a kid, because like first thing I'm getting when I'm telling my friends, like, yo, when I'm giving them the light is like, yo, shut up. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but I'm not going to shut up. So I'm like, but I'm still bringing it to them. So it's like, you'll see. And then fast forward, here we are, to like everybody's, talking about these things around the world. And I'm just like, okay, bet. So, yeah, I was right. But it's my own validation when I see the results in the world, in the real world. So I think for me as a man talking to other men, and then growing up in the hundreds and still, dealing with the mentality of, of men who don't have gratitude, who have a poverty mindset, you gotta meet people where they are. So, if I say something and it's an automatic like defense or automatic like pushback, that just lets me know, okay, you're not quite ready for this level of conversation. And it's okay. You can only really handle this part of this conversation, but it's cool. I'm a chameleon to a certain degree. If I really want to reach somebody, then I reach them where they are, and we kind of build from there. But also at the same time to protect my own energy, because you feed off people too. If I know that's what a person is, and for me, if I feel like, you know what, I really need to stay in this certain type of vibe, a certain type of energy, then I'm like, all right, cool, I'm gonna leave it there, and I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna go around people who understand what I'm saying, or I'm gonna go be by myself, because I ain't got no problem with that.
That's dope. That's dope. I really like what you said about how you plant seeds, right? Like you're planting these seeds, and you're not letting whatever is going on to stop you planting those seeds. And then also I wanted to ask about, how art, you know, you being an artist, a multidisciplinary artist, and you know how you use gratitude and appreciation inside of your work, right? I remember you telling me one time when you were doing
Hmm.
a mural, right? And you know, like when you're outside doing murals, people come up, right? Like and they talk to you, right? And you get to interact with folks, right? And I think that's something that a lot of mural artists don't talk about too much. I mean, I know just because I'm around it and I've seen it, but there's something that happens to in those spaces. And so, how does that fuel you? How do
Oh,
you
this
know, like,
love it.
I'm just really interested in like your practice, you know, because I think, you know, when it comes to creators and creative people, I think, and Wanaki and I have talked about this before, because, you know, she said she, you know, like for a long time, she didn't see herself as being a creative, right?
Mhm.
But and I think that that's something that's just innate in all humans, right?
Mhm.
But to
Yeah,
tap
yeah.
into that, you know what I mean? To tap into those parts of us that are just, you know, that just being human, right? How do you use that? Like, how do you use that actually being an artist and being out there in the
Um,
world?
so all right. So how do I use my creativity out in the world?
Yeah, how do you use it? How, you know, that,
Yeah,
you know, just like an
good question.
appreciation and gratitude, and, you know, like how does that fit into all of that?
I follow my ABCs. I always be creating.
Mm.
It don't matter where I'm at. I could be in the middle of a conversation. I'd be like, wait, I should make this into a painting, and then the painting should look like this, and then I should do it this. You know, it just kind of like it just is there now. And I think for me, again, early on, um, I was I was I was really raised in the arts, and unintentionally though. My church, shout out to Trinity United Church of Christ, the greatest church inside of Mississippi.
This man is really 70 at heart.
I'm also, but but they have this program that my older brothers were in called New Life, and and there was a guy in it, Anthony Hollis, who took these group of kids all over the country to do performance art, like dancing performatively and speaking and all these things. Sort of like what the Sister Act was. This is what this program was, you know,
Okay.
but without the singing. And although there were performances from time to time like that, but mostly dancing and the art. And I remember like being on set with film, and my brother was acting, my other brother was introducing and getting the crowd hyped up and all this stuff. I'm like, yo, this is who I am, you know. So I was like, this is art, you know. It was within me. So, and then I started writing poetry first and short stories, and then drawing anything that I saw that was cool to draw. And so it was always art for me. It was always expression. And then I just realized it wasn't just poetry or art or anything. It was really just being to express myself. In any creative way I can express myself, I'll go and express myself. And then I was a shy kid, so I had to learn how to be expressive in a way in which that would, you know, get people's attention. And so I draw my family life. So I got a twin sister who was naturally just an introvert, who was just charismatic, just all just very naturally, you know, just real natural, just powerhouse.
Extrovert.
Yeah, extrovert. Yeah, she was, and I was introvert. And
Mhm.
but through observation, I saw like, yo, okay, this is how you win people, influence people. You gotta be out there. You gotta give them a piece of your personality. So I started doing like little things like go on the street and like yell to the top of my lungs just to get people's attention, just to see what it felt like. Because I didn't like people's attention. I didn't like it at all. I really didn't. So I did like different things like that to just go ahead and just get the
Get
weirdness out of the way.
with. Yeah.
Get comfortable. Like, okay, they're looking at you here. What you gonna do now? You just did something crazy weird in the middle of the street. You know what I'm saying? And thank God this is before phone and iPhone and stuff, because I'll probably be viral right now. Stuff I used to always do to get kind of like break me out of this thing. But I needed to do it drastically because I was like really shy. Like I'll be like, at a party or something, just kind of socially anxious or something like that. Like this is, this ain't good. So doing all of that helped me to just realize like expressing myself creatively comes in whatever form I choose. And and going out into the world, it helps me to be able to deliver my message. which is, we're lights, and we're just here to, spark people and push people to understand that they are also lights as well, and just kind of get people out the darkness. And everyone's a creative. Everyone's like, this whole world was designed by somebody. This why this whole world was an idea at first. And if you take anything out of here and make it real out there, then that is 100% what creativity is. So it doesn't matter if you're a lawyer, doctor, especially if you're an entrepreneur, you are 100% a creative. Even though you might not be in a creative field, but you are creating something, even when you're not really realizing it, because you're taking the thought from in here, and putting it out there, and then, you're giving it legs, giving it a life, and that's what creativity is.
That's dope. That's dope. How many murals have you painted? Do you know?
I was thinking like it's been a lot. So I know I have the most murals in Austin.
I told you. Come on, Soldier Boy, Soldier.
For sure, I know I do, and that's largely in part thanks to Vanessa, for sure. And, and I thank people like Vanessa who support me as an artist and believe in my talent, believe in my professionalism as well. As a whole nother thing, like being a professional when it's time to elevate yourself as a professional creator. But yeah, I think I got the most art. I got the most murals in Austin for sure. Murals in total, that's a lot. It's a lot because if we're not just talking like outdoor murals and inside murals, then we're talking like at least. We talking about, I don't know, talking at least 50, maybe 60 murals.
I'll do this.
Maybe give or take.
That's a lot.
Count it. I gotta count it.
That's a lot. I just want to give a little perspective about the amassed art that you've done, and the impact that has on us, right? Because I get to, like I said, I get to see this beauty, and it does change perspective about community and where I live. So mural art is an important part of urban planning and design. And so like, just to give people just a smidgen of kind of what you do. I know you do more things outside of just mural art, but that, I think that's an important part. I know Wanaki has something to say. Go ahead.
No, you know what? I'm just thinking too, because I think perspective, again, it's extremely important. And so as we're talking about like your accomplishments, which I'm cracking jokes about it, but I think it's dope that we get to crack these kind of jokes. You know what I'm saying? Like, not the kind of jokes that hurt your feelings, but the ones that's like, man, because these jokes are for me too. But the other thing is that it makes me think like you do all of this like while being still being a father. You have a family. You know what I'm saying? And so can you speak to that a bit? Like what it's like actually balancing like this career with just life in general? Because I think that's another thing that you don't talk about too often, and especially with other Black men who are fathers, who are also chasing their dreams, but also prioritizing being fathers. Clearly, as we can all hear, which I love.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. But I mean, that's real. So it's like,
it's not a distraction. Actually, it's
great.
I love it.
It's what motivated the question. That is what gave me the question, and I think it's an important one because we don't see too many people like you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I appreciate that. Like I was talking to one of my homies, and he's an artist too, and he's about to like embark on having a family and everything. And I was like, man, look, bro, I wish somebody would have gave me this game. It doesn't matter if you're an artist or entrepreneur or just a person who has hella ambition to climb that corporate ladder, but you want to do it with a family. And, like I said, I wish I had got some guidance along the way, but I'm a firm believer that if you out here looking for the mentor and you can't find it, that means you got to just become it. And so that's pretty much how I've been able to survive. And then obviously finding the mentors along the way to kind of feed and supplement where I don't understand. But as far as being, a father, as far as being in a relationship and a family man, and being a full-time artist, It's first of all, it's challenges. You know, that's the first and foremost. It's like it goes back to gratitude and acceptance. I accept that this is challenging. I
Mm.
accept that this is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. I accept that every day I'm being pulled in different directions, but at the same time being led in the same direction, or trying to be led in the same goal. You know, I accept that I am either side of the same coin on some days. You know, and some days I'm really more dedicated to the family. In other ways, more dedicated to the business. And it's a juggling act more than it's a balancing act. I realized, and it was hard because I'm like, I got balance this, I got balance this. I'm like, but it does, but this balance just don't make sense. And then I realized, I think I heard, I'm a very big YouTube connoisseur. So if you need videos, you know, I'm the sommelier of YouTube University. I hop on YouTube with the quickness. I'm trying to figure something. If I'm stuck, I'll go because somebody on YouTube got an answer. You know what I'm saying? It might, again, going back to being a light. It might not be the correct answer, but they didn't shine the light or something that kind of sparked something that okay, back I can download that. You know, we off to the races. But I was listening to somebody on YouTube and it was like, you know, I hate the word balancing. It's really more of a juggle. And this person is a successful entrepreneur, got kids, you know what I'm saying, got in a relationship, got a family, got multiple businesses, all these things. So I'm like, yeah, it is like a juggling act. Cause I swear, some days I got it, and some days I just don't. And then the other side to that is that I can't do half of what I can do without my partner Brittany. So it's like it's also shout outs to her. It's
Work making
Shout out to Brittany.
yeah,
yeah.
work
I,
making work for sure.
I had to remind her like, hey, you do realize you're my business partner, right? As
Yeah,
well. Like, you know, we can't we massively co-created these children, but you
yeah.
do know like we're also business partners. So it's like as I'm out here manifesting my dreams, she's also manifesting her dreams, and we're using our the vehicle of art to do so and creativity to do so. So as you know, we have many conversations on what it looks like, what and how it needs to be done, and like now we're starting to get more of in a flow state of how to create
Hmm.
in this space of like business at the same time with family as well, and how instead of looking at it as like, well, family over here, business over here, I
It's
look
all
at it holistically.
yeah.
I share with her like the way I break down the way I break down things I gotta do or the things I need to accomplish. It's not like, okay, business, I gotta do this, family, I gotta do this, art, I gotta do this. It's all on one sheet of paper or several sheets of paper, really, if I'm being honest. Like it's all on like 3 or 4, 5 sheets of different paper of everything I need to do, everybody who I need to do it for, what I need to do for myself, what I need to do for Brittany, what I need to do for my kids, what I need to do for Penny City, what I need to do for art. Everything's on this piece of paper,
Yeah.
on several different pieces of paper. Because to me, it's holistically because I got to get all this done.
Yeah.
Like one affects the other, and that's what kind of helps me too in business as well. Because when I'm speaking to any business partners, I'm like, hey, what's the home look like? What's your mental look like? Because it's gonna show up in the business. It's gonna show up. It's not separated.
Every time.
Yeah, it's not separated at all. It's like how you show up, or what's the phrase? How you do one thing, how you do everything, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if your mind ain't good at home, your mind ain't about to be good over here. So like you might like take a break because like or you might need some encouragement, or you might need a hug, you might need a pep talk, or whatever. You might need a handshake, something like I need to hit, whatever. Like you might just need a little.
I
You might
will
need time to yourself.
I will say, because I've watched you just like work in a way that's just like insane, like to the point where it's like this man would be like have been painting all night, but then be up at karate or just or wrestling with his son. You know what I'm saying? Like in the morning, or just at some, and it's just like, when do you sleep and how do you rest? And I'm wondering too, because, because your work ethic is what it is. And I'm sure there's a lot of men out there like this. And so I guess I really want to give opportunity for like space for, men like in your position. Like, how do you make sure, like, you got to have some type of routine where you're making sure that you are taking care of yourself mentally and pouring into yourself? Like, how important is it for you to find the time in the day with all of the things that you just listed and all of the things that you got to make sure that you checked off by the end of it, which is a lot. And I've literally watched and I've seen this happen. And I'm just like, how do you, like, who takes care? Like, how does this happen? You know what I mean? Like, how do you take care of yourself to ensure that you can have the endurance?
Right. Yeah. Like, the first and foremost, like, I tell everybody that, and that again goes back to my friend I was talking to, because I seen him about to jump off the ledge. I'm like, wait a minute, before you jump off this ledge, let me just tell you, let me prepare you so you can prepare yourself. Because like when I became an entrepreneur, I said fuck my job, I'll quit. And I had a series of repossessions and kicked out of some apartments and stuff. If I would have saved a little bit of money, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Someone would be like, hey, look, use this job as a financial tool.
Your first investor.
Instead of thinking of it as a tool. I mean, as a burden. Think of it this way. It's all a mindset. So, and again, it's all a mindset. So first and foremost, like you gotta be healthy. I can't hold you. Like, my diet is pretty decent, and with the exception of like maybe like the last couple of days, I did eat had a little bit of donuts. You know what I'm saying? But literally, like, my diet is so important, because if my gut ain't right, my thoughts aren't right. And if my thoughts aren't right, I'm not moving right. If I'm not moving right, then I'm not showing up how I need to show up. So, health is really important when it comes to like an entrepreneur or creative, artistic life, because it really matters. People. It's funny because one of my friends who's on the same boat when it comes to like being healthy and stuff. Like, man, like sometimes I can't trust people who got, and there's no offense, I'm not trying to start a controversy. No, I can't trust people who got a gut because your gut is bloated. You got all these things that are like, and this is him saying it, not me, okay? That all these things. You got all these things going on. You bloated, so you feel it. If your body's uncomfortable, then your mind's uncomfortable. And if your mind's uncomfortable, then you showing up feeling uncomfortable. It's just not. You're not feeling good. And if you're just not feeling good, how can you really attract what you want to attract? And I'm like, oh, that kind of makes sense. But I'm like, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, people got things they got to work on. Everybody got something to work on. But
even go ahead, keep going, because I'm about to say to go deeper, because you have the physical part, and that's kind of where they stop.
Yeah, but no, I won't go deeper though. Yeah. I just want to touch on that because it is important. Like, eating habits are important. Because that leads to how much energy you really have. So people always tell me like, bro, you always awake or you always moving, and like, when do you rest? When do you slow down and stuff like that? And I'm like, I can go to the studio and I got a deadline and I got like 3 or 4 projects that's due all within the same week. All right, they got to get done. Right. That okay, I got hired a couple of subcontractor artists, whatever, to help me knock it out. Cool, but I still got to oversee it. And then once it gets done, I still got to come home. Like, I could be at the studio all day, and then go to a work site, make sure that's cool. But I still got to come home. And when I come home, the energy does not
get to go down.
Yeah. In fact, it either increases or stays about the same, but it for sure does not go down. So then it's like, all right, like, what I gotta do? It reminds me of that Kevin Hart skit when he was like, man, hey fellas, when I get home, you just get home. You drive up to the car. I mean, you drive up to the crib. You just see your sons or your family in the window waving, and you just drive off. Like, you just need one more minute to yourself. It's like you take, like, sometimes I just sit in the car and just take a couple breaths, take a couple steps. Yeah. It's funny because I used to see my father do this. I'm like, why is he sitting in the car? Like, get out the car, come on, man. Now I get it. It's like you gotta. It's like a transitional time. Yeah. Because now I'm about to transition into a space,
a whole other side.
Yeah. That if I was feeling again like how I'm feeling in my business is gonna affect how I'm feeling at home. So if me one of my business partners ain't seen eye to eye in that moment or something like that, or I just got into it with a client or something like that, or maybe I'm just trying to like advance myself to another level that's kind of frightening, then it's gonna show up at home. So I need to correct myself, and then also be honest with everyone in the house. You know, with Brittany, with the kids, like, hey, Daddy had a bad day, and I'm gonna try my best not to, use it. I'm trying my best not to make sure that this affects you all. But I did have a bad day, so if I'm a little short with you, I'm a little irritated with you, I apologize. Or if I don't got enough, understanding to say this, pre coming in the house or before I snap with somebody, I'll say it after I've done the snap. I'm like, look, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You know what I'm saying? Right. And let them know, like, all these challenges is, it kind of builds up. And then, give me some grace. It's a lot of grace that gotta flow into what you're doing, especially when you have a whole ecosystem at the house. You get your wife, you get your kids, you got your partners, whatever. Like, it's a whole other ecosystem, but it has to flow because it helps supports the other ecosystem. And and again, it's all connected. And then when it comes to the rest part,
hold on, but because I don't want to go just kind of breeze past that, because what you said was like, you got to be able to articulate and communicate what's going on real time.
Yeah, you gotta be very self-aware. You gotta be very self-aware.
And I think this is important for, again, I think men, just specifically as you talk about leadership and when you come home and being a leader of the household and the energy, you just setting a tone with your energy and you recognizing that. Like, how did you know that? When did you realize that? Or was that something that you just, when did you realize that and start acting?
It was very recently when I really came to the point where I realized, like, sleep? What you mean sleep? Boy, you ain't about to get no sleep when you get home. You better get to it. This house got to get clean. The kids need you. Brittany needs you. The baby needs you. Like, what you mean sleep? What? Sleep? What? And then and then another thing, Kobe said something that was pretty profound too. He was like, man, like, if I'm a champion in my field, what makes you think I'm gonna be a champion at home? I'm not gonna have the same mentality at home neither.
One thing is how you do everything.
Exactly. And I'm just like, man, okay, cool. I gotta adopt that. That's what's up. But damn, Kobe, you know what I'm saying? Kobe got M's. He got some M's, you know what I'm saying? He can hire some help and shit like that. And by the way, it's still a good mentality to adopt, because it is, you know what I'm saying? Like, I did very recently come to the conclusion, like, I might, if I could stay up all night and paint, I could stay up all night and run this house, and then and for the correct and for the record, Brittany runs the house. I just show up, so I got to make sure I do what she said.
You show up, you get your part for the structure that she creates, because that goes back to the business and the partnership that y'all have.
Exactly. So, she's running all the back end, make sure everything's straight with the kids, and then I gotta do my best not to overly question, and not in a way that's like kind of like critiquing, but like, a lot of times some question like, so how does this work? Like, how we do this and how we do this? Okay, just because at the end of the day, I'm also trying to add my input to make sure like it's flowing correctly, because it all has to flow for everybody, all these different personalities. And there's some strong personalities in this house already at this young age. So it's like, again, it's about this flow state, and like, how do we get to this flow state? And it's not and that doesn't mean that it's not going to be some. It doesn't mean that it's not going to be any turbulence. You think about a stream. Some parts of that river is very smooth, and then you get to the part where it's very rocky, and then smooth again, and it's rock. So it's just it's cyclical.
Right.
So again, it goes back to like being hella self-aware of yourself, because it then kind of just whether there's a set routine in place or not, just paying attention. I feel like me, or as a man in my position, is paying attention to like the cycles. Okay, in this cycle, we seem to always argue when this happens, or in this cycle, it seems like the house is great. Well, in this cycle, the kids seem to turn up around this time because this happens. It's really just kind of being a brainiac or a nerd, really kind of figure out when these cycles come up, because then you can jump ahead of it. And like kind of steer the ship in the right direction. So So being self-aware, and again, that goes back to being healthy, because again, if you are eating clean and as much as possible, I'm not saying you got to do some crazy Atkins diet or something like that, or you got to starve yourself to get to what you need to. All I'm saying is being intentional with, not overfilling yourself and just eating clean as possible, so you can have a good thoughts, so you can be aware of your own self, and not misinterpret anybody else. Because, like, for example, you ever ate a burger or something like that and automatically you start feeling bad, like you got attitude out of nowhere? That's what I'm talking about. It's like that type of stuff. Look, I love my burgers. It's so happy in your face.
Cannot relate. I'm not even gonna sit on here and lie to the people, right?
Well, it might not have been a burger, but it could have been a bag of chips, or maybe I don't know, whatever it is. Like, it might have been something.
I ain't never had that feeling.
You know,
I do think that I think
your
that
stomach acid.
I agree that food and how you treat your body is important. I also think that what you said about being intentional is
Yeah.
an important part of, an intentionality. All that is really is taking time to think about it, and to create some sort of system around it so it works best for yourself and the people that you're impacting, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm hearing a lot of alignment too, like just how you move, how it works for the whole unit, not only for your family, what you do at home, but also for your business, and how you work with artists and all of your partners, right? And I think that is part of this gratitude as strategy, right? And that's the topic that we're talking about today. How else do you see gratitude in your life?
I be playing church music a lot, and like growing up, I mean, going into my church I went to, you be at church and you hit, once the choir hit a certain octave, whatever, you be in that just praising, hallelujah, what I'm saying? You just be in there. And as a kid, you be looking at people just like losing their mind, like, what in the world are these adults doing, But as you become an adult, you realize you've been through some stuff. And then you see them releasing, and then what they're releasing is, or what they're releasing, but then what they're accepting is the gratitude, like they're being thankful for the trials they've been through, and glad and happy, and showing God thanks for, hey, I'm still here, thankful for making me helping me get to this point. And like for me, like it goes back again to that routine, like whenever I feel, even before I start to feel stressful, it's like I'm always, again, I'm big on listening to motivational speeches a lot. Reverend Ike is my man. I made her sit down and listen to it one time. Like,
I'm gonna be laughing because Reverend Ike, I always think of like Ike and Tina, so it's really hard for me when I hear him say Reverend Ike to not think of Ike.
Yeah, I know. Look, they gotta replace the who we picture in our mind when it comes to Ike with that guy, because he's the man for real. Reverend Ike, he gets played in the house a lot, and then then again, like church music, because it just helps you embody the feeling of gratitude. So it's like, it's one thing to think about what it is you want and how it is you may wonder whatever, but if you're not feeling it, it's not really going. It's not what happens for yourself, because the feeling is what moves people to do things. And so,
what are you grateful for, Barrett? Like, what are you grateful for about you?
About me, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I'm alive. Honestly, you know what I'm saying. Like, you really think about it, like, I don't really know how this world was created. So many theories, but whoever and how it happened, thank God it happened. We get to experience this. And I love the process. I'm grateful that I love the process. I fell in love with the process at a young age, not even understanding that, but I did. And I love the process. I love the ups and downs, because that's what lets me know I'm alive. Is when you play football, my coaches, I played for Morgan Park. Shout out Morgan Park football team.
Shout out to them.
But one of my coaches would be like, yo, you feel pain. Hey, let's two things. One, you got hurt, you gotta learn a lesson. Okay, don't do that again. But also let you're alive. So I'm like, we're alive. We get to breathe. We get to have an opportunity each day to to make an impact in the world that erases anything that was bad that we did before or something like that. You know what I mean? And then I'm also grateful for my mentality, the way I think, and I'm grateful for my decisions that I've made, all the ones that I made, whether I felt they was good or bad, because it made me who I am today. And I'm grateful for like my family. I'm grateful for Brittany. I'm grateful for you all, Monica and Vanessa, for today. You know what I mean? Like Vanessa's been a huge part of my life since we met. When we met, we was locked in. You know, same thing with Monica. When we met, we was locked in. So.
Oh, how did we not say this? Barrett is the reason why Vanessa and I even know each other. Why Sage
exactly
exist? How is this just now clicking?
Yeah.
Click. I'm like, right, we're only today because
Barrett.
Appreciate you.
Clock it. Clock it.
I'm hot.
Yeah. So I'm very much grateful for that, you know, and I think now that I'm at where I'm in with the mental state that I'm in now, I'm very grateful that for me, I'm grateful that I have this thought process that is always, I'm never one-sided on the truth. My dad to this day teases me because it would be epic arguments in the family, and ask Barrett, well, shit, you know, I see your point, you know, and it's always
that'll make me so mad.
It's always been like
that'll
that.
Piss me off. That'll
you know,
piss me off.
But it's always been like that, unless you know it's just straight up wrong. Like okay, look, you wrong. That's wrong. But it's like again, it's so many different.
Wronger.
Right. I feel you, but it's so many different sides to the truth. You know what I'm saying? So it's like at the end of the day, it's like it's not really like that's not really what we're trying to get at. We're really trying to get at like how do we function, right? So you know how do you and I function this whatever type of relationship this is. So you know, do I gotta be right all the time? No, I don't. And I'm grateful for the fact that I'm not the type of person that needs to be right. I don't feel the feeling to have to be right, and I don't mind being wrong. I'm not afraid to be wrong, and I'm not afraid to embarrass myself. And
what happens when you acknowledge that you're wrong? What's like the next immediate thing for you?
Oh, no, apologize. Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. Or if I'm wrong, if I'm trying to like, you know, let's put it this way. I'm rarely wrong though. Okay. So
so here we go.
Let's just throw it out there. I'm rarely wrong here. No, I get stuff twisted sometimes, and it's like I'm human, so it's like, all right,
you make it all flawed, huh?
I'm like,
now you turn into the Reverend. Ain't nobody perfect, huh?
ain't nobody perfect. And look, and I've stood on business and with passion on things I've been wrong about, and had to do a 180, like that same passion and same energy, like my bad, I'm sorry. You was right, or I was wrong about this whole general experience. And because I feel like the quicker it's like when they in business, they tell us to fail fast. Okay, if I find out I'm wrong quicker than I find out I'm right, then I can adjust myself quicker. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm wrong, bet I'm wrong. So let's do it right now. So now we know for sure I'm wrong, and that might have been like a question mark. You know what I'm saying? Well, for me, it was obviously a question mark if I was wrong or not, or maybe it wasn't a question mark. But now that I know I'm wrong, okay, I'm still led right. You see what I'm saying? Whether I'm wrong or right or wrong. So it's like when I'm wrong, I do want to know when I'm wrong, and I do want to find out for myself how I'm wrong, because I'm definitely a researcher. So when it comes to that, that's one of the biggest things for me. Like I'm not afraid to be wrong. So and I'm not afraid to apologize and correct myself so we can move on. Because again, it's about functionality.
Yeah.
I think too, I double down on that, because I think for me, I've learned like that's been the thing that's actually accelerated me. Like seeing what I've been doing wrong. You know what I'm saying? Being willing to see it. Because otherwise I would just be stuck. If I just did everything that I did right, then I really wouldn't have a real reason to change anything. You get what I'm saying? So I would just be creating whatever I'm creating. But if I'm willing to see where I went wrong, then that gives me an opportunity to do something different, to create. And I know that whatever I create from that point forward is going to at least be that much different. You get what I'm saying? And so like I think it's like a cheat code, honestly. Like the sooner you're willing to say, oh yeah, okay, and let me correct that and like just follow.
Mhm.
Honestly, it just is a cheat code, I
Cheat
think.
code, for real.
You know what? I want to shift our perspective a little bit when we're talking about right and wrong,
Mhm.
because it's really not just like Barrett was saying. Like everyone has their own perspective about things, and I don't think people genuinely do not want to upset folks, like especially people that they're in relationship with. It's like you what you were saying about your family, and sometimes there's disagreements, right? And I really think it's about alignment. You know what I mean? So for myself, and you know, for a long time, I had that in my body, like there's something wrong. Um, and it really wasn't wrong. I just wasn't aligned. And I think what that does is it shifts it out of this kind of morality conversation, and I think it makes it more about finding alignment, like finding the spaces that we're aligned to, and it's a different kind of conversation, and I think that it really can make a difference in relationships. So, like for instance, like you don't necessarily you might not mix well with certain situations, right? It might not agree with you. And that's okay. You know, it's okay not to be in agreement. You know, it might shift the relationship though. It might make the relationship different. It might make it, you know, maybe a little bit challenging, but it won't, you know, it doesn't like make it a bad thing or a wrong thing for to not to be in alignment with you know, people, places, and things. So yeah, I see you want to say something,
Yeah,
Monica?
because I think when I think about right or wrong, I'm never thinking about what it means to another person outside of me. When I think about right or wrong, I'm thinking about literally if I hear somebody say something and I run it through my own filters and I'm like, dang, are they? It goes back to just spotting the pattern. So I'll just go back to myself and I'm just looking
Yeah.
through like, where have I heard this before? Have I seen this before? Or, you know, whatever the case may be in terms of right or wrong, right? And when it comes to me like changing my actual behavior or something, I'm really scanning the pattern. And if I spot the pattern and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, no, I need to change here. I'm wrong. You get what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
that's what I mean. So for me,
Yeah, I don't look at it like that, but I
I,
understand
me
what you're
neither.
saying. I
You
don't
know,
look
I
at it
remember
like that.
telling.
yeah.
Yeah.
What you
Yeah,
say,
Go
Barrett?
ahead, Barrett.
I said I remember telling my girlfriend that I was like I'm talking about Brittany. I was like, you know, I think she was trying to tell me something I did wrong or did right. You know what? I don't believe in right or wrong. And she's like, man, hey, you go flipping these words around and stuff, kind of like, you know, mansplaining some stuff. I'm like, no, I'm like, for like, think about it, like, because I always go back to this perspective, like the universe rewards movement and it rewards speed. So, how can in history, how can the fact that Hitler, this egregious person, right, who done major atrocities, exist in the same timeline as Marcus Garvey? You see what I'm saying? Or in the same timeline that we're in, there's genocide happening. Yet there's people, you know, hitting their goals and buying the, you know, BMWs or us just having a conversation on a podcast. So and all this is moving, you know, all this is happening, and all this is good and bad. So, and I'm like, if this truly was like be a good person and things are rewarded to you, then hell, it'll be a lot of good people in this world. Hell, it'll be a good person in office. You know what I'm saying? Like that people may think, but again, it's about movement, and like that's so, and it goes back to what Vanessa said, like morality is whatever your morality is, you know, and how you move around your morality, you know. If you go out, because like, man, I had a friend who stole stuff all the time. I'm talking this man, you couldn't take this man nowhere and not leave with like 4 or 5 things in his pocket. And I'm like, bet I stole something one time.
Yeah,
I get caught because it deep down it didn't align with me.
with you. Yeah.
So it's like it's against morality and what we find ourselves in alignment with. So I agree. So it's not. I'm glad we all collectively agree with that because it's not really about good and bad. It's about movement.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what
And
you
it's
like.
about what works best for you.
Yeah.
It might not work best for me. You know what I mean?
Right.
It doesn't make me wrong or you wrong.
Yeah,
It just makes it
it's
just
not
it
about
just makes it
that.
just
Yeah.
it just aligns with who I am and what works best for me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I think that kind of conversation is very different for a lot of people, right? Because people like to place blame on certain things. Well, if it doesn't fit this way, then I'm wrong, they're wrong, we're right, who's right, like all of that. When
Mhm.
it's really like it doesn't have to be like that, and being in community, I think is a great like place to play this out, right? Because like when I work in community, I work with some people, and then there's some people that I don't work with. Not to say that what they're doing is wrong, or it just doesn't work for me, and I'll still be in community with them. Like I'll still be around them, I'll still show up at their events, I'll still be there, I'll still be cordial with them. But if they ask me, hey, let's do this thing together, I'd be like, no.
Nope.
And not to say not to say how they do, it's just like I don't do
Yeah.
stuff like y'all do,
I like to say
and not to
sometimes.
say, yeah.
Not to
Go
I would
ahead,
just
go ahead.
add to it is that how on
Yeah.
Facebook there's always some type of friends, suggested friends, right? There are some people Facebook won't even suggest you be friends with. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's some people that the algorithm know, like, nah, they don't even align. So it's like the algorithm knows. So
And I got, I have like 300 friend requests. And I have not like, and I'll go through them every once in a while, and I'll look through them because I don't even know who these people are. A lot of them I don't know, but some of them I do. But I'm not aligned with it. You know what I mean? And not to say like, and I think this is important, especially when we're doing this kind of work, or doing work that's out there in the world, because there are going to be people that don't like it, right? They're going to be people who aren't like feeling it, right? And that's fine. You ain't got to feel it. Just change the channel. You know what I mean? Keep on moving.
Right.
And so we can find the people, places, and things that we're aligned to.
I think that's why I really don't think about the people. You know what I mean? I really do. I'm thinking about when I make decisions myself. It's very much so like, do I feel good about this? Okay.
Exactly.
And do I care about it? Not for real. I'm just going
Right.
You gotta feel good about this all the time. But it's also challenging too and it goes back to like, okay, when you are in a relationship and you have so many people who are dependent on you. For example, like it feels good for me to stay in the studio all day, and I mean that all day. But it wouldn't feel good if I did that.
You couldn't do that.
So I can't really do that just for myself. You know what I'm saying? So and sometimes sometimes with the business, it feels good to stay at home all day. You know what I mean? It feels real good. It feels real good to me to stay at home all day. You know? But it ain't good for the business. So so sometimes I feel like there are overall, obviously, everything has to feel good within you to you got to feel good about your business, feel good about your family, all that stuff. But there are obviously circumstances where it's like I do gotta like take myself out of the equation and think about what would happen if I didn't show up for the fam today, if I didn't show up for business today. Like who ultimately would be really affected by it? I'll be good.
Those things be good. But I think deep down, those things wouldn't make you feel good. So it would already be in disagreement because who you are, you feel good when you show up in those spaces. So it literally is starting with that feeling of what's going to make you feel good to show up 100% because you've trained your mind to want that. So to show up the best way you can for your family, to show up the best way you can for your business. It's not even in your mind, like who you are to say, I know could you feel good when you paint? And that's what you turned into your work. So if you decided to just sit at home and not do that all day, you wouldn't feel good about it. You know what I'm saying? I don't think. So I think deep down, there's that alignment that's fundamental, period. Like, do I feel good about it?
Yeah. Like you know who you impact too.
Yeah.
And you take that into account, right? Like you'll say, I know that, I would love to be in the studio all day today, but that is not reality, right?
Mhm.
The
Right.
reality is that I have these people in my life, these situations that I impact, that if I am in the studio all day, it ain't gonna feel good, right? I'm gonna have to
No, I
deal
mean,
with
I ain't gonna lie, like my IDGAF bar
Ah, you-
is,
never mind. Yeah,
man,
yeah,
it's really high. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? I can really not
no,
give a, you know what I'm saying?
I agree with you on that, because
But
like
it's
I
like
think that there's a
maturity
point.
changes things.
I think there's a point that I think that we get to where that I don't really give a, right,
hmm
like
Yeah.
that it is important. That's also an important part too,
Feels good.
because I think that is like boundaries in a way,
hmm
when we're creating boundaries, that are important for us, so we can continue to thrive. That might not work for some people, and I think that that's when a conversation is needed to to really find out what works best for all parties involved, right? And so those are what Wanaki and I call courageous conversations, right? When we are thrusted into conversations that might take us out of our element a little bit, and see more of like what's happening in
Yeah.
in these particular situations.
Ooh, let's talk more about courageous conversations.
Let's do it.
'Cause, courageous conversations be courageous conversations.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I had one a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't realize it was going to turn into this kind of conversation. And what I did that I thought was a little different than what I would do previously was just really get in touch with the people that I'm talking to, right? Like really getting to understand where they're at and
Mhm.
how I impacted them. And so I could be clear about how to move. And so like I think it's uncomfortable, right? Like it's not comfortable being in those conversations, but I think it goes back to what you said, Barrett, about it being alive, right? Like there's those are enlivened conversations where there is movement. And I think that's life, right? That saying where two or more of us in conversation means that we are with God, right? So I think that those are, I mean, it might be courageous, might be uncomfortable, but I think that those are the crux or the beauty of just being human and being able to be in creation. And so, like, for a lot of people, I don't think a lot of folks see those conversations as like they get scared of them, right? People get scared of those conversations because they not it's not about it being easy. They're there for movement, and to create change and transformation, which which to me that's why we're here. That's why we're having these conversations.
Breakthroughs, right?
Boom,
Yeah, breakthroughs.
boom.
Yeah.
Breakthroughs are beautiful, right?
Mhm.
It gets you to the other side of what's possible, and it gets you to see what you can actually create. And I think for a lot of my life, I've been inside a lot of those conversations, and I think that what
Mhm.
it's done for me is it's made me so much stronger to actually, like, I attract those like I attract conversations like that to me. I find
Yeah.
myself in conversation like that a lot,
Yeah. Grateful. Yeah.
and what I'm able to do is give space so people can actually see who they are in those conversations. It is so beautiful. Like I encourage those conversations because it really brings life. It really brings what we're here to do, is to have those kinds of conversations where we can make a difference for ourselves and for the other people that we're with.
Yeah. I know. For me personally, I remember it wasn't until I started working at Mercy for Boys and Girls that I started to be comfortable and understanding like hard conversations. Because being there and being a social worker there, working with kids that were at risk, and there's a lot of hard conversations I had to have with these young kids about a lot of different. I mean, every topic you can imagine, and it can potentially sometimes turn into a situation where it could be, you know, like a violent situation. So, you know, maybe really like pay attention to how I was coming across to a kid, my tone, my presence, my demeanor, everything, and like and figure out the ways in which it was important for us to kind of get this person to understand what I'm saying without triggering them, or if I may trigger them within the same conversation, disarm them, and then de-escalate the situation. So it was always trainings on de-escalation, which I was always, I think I was the most, what'd you call it, the best attendance record when it came to our
Count all his achievements just within this one episode.
you know, my perfect attendance award for I was never a good
first adapter. What would you?
I was never good. I was never the best employee. I can give you that. Like I was, man. Look, I was a nightmare. But this particular job gave me a lot of grace though, and I appreciate them because it helped me really shape me and learn people. But we have de-escalation classes, trainings all the time, and I signed for them all the time, and like really became good at that stuff to the point where they would have me go to other programs and teach their staff how to, you know, my techniques on how I do what I do with the kids or with coworkers and stuff. So it was cool, and then it transferred obviously into real life, you know, into relationships of all kinds. And it's like the first thing I think about when it comes to like having to have a hard conversation is, again, go back to acceptance, gratitude, is accepting like I gotta have a hard conversation and it's gonna be hard for me. I don't know about this person, but it's gonna be hard for me. You know, I might be feeling the urge to fidget. I might feel the urge to stutter or something like that, or whatever it is. But like it's gonna feel uncomfortable for me, and I gotta just breathe and just kind of accept the fact that this is happening, and then have gratitude that it's happening, because after this conversation is over, I'm surely gonna grow from it. But it's first having the being courageous enough to have the conversation and accept that this is what it is, and then third, just like having gratitude, like, okay, we went through it, and now, you know, I'm on the other side of it, and I feel good because I had the conversation and I learned something. You always gonna learn something from a hard conversation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, I don't know that I've ever had a problem with having a courageous conversation. I think I've been having my whole life.
Yeah.
I think I've been having them
So you're the only girl. You had to get out there and let them know, like,
all others just always being around. And then my dad didn't really like filter me. Like I didn't have to watch my mouth, kind of thing. And so it was just like, I think I just have been prepared for this. Like, and then
I definitely grew up in a household. Parents
playing sports too. It's like you are always having anything that you did that was like structured coming up. If it's sports or anything, you always having tough, courageous, hard conversations because you got to get better. So they got to tell you the things that you don't want to hear when you don't want to hear it. You know what I'm saying? So I think, and then being in the military, I think truly my life has just conditioned me for courageous conversations. So to the point where I might not even realize I'm in the middle of a courageous conversation for somebody else. And I think that's where my where I have to grow, because I'm willing to go there. And then, but I got to be aware that most people aren't. But also, that's why I appreciate y'all though, because I feel like y'all know y'all are, so I don't have to think about it as much. But
I also had
a conversation. Hate to see me coming.
We're modeling.
I agree. Like you definitely have you definitely feel very well comfortable in those situations. I've seen you in action, and I think for me as a man is when it comes to courageous conversations, I had to learn the difference between a courageous conversation and conflict, because you know, as a man, if it's conflict, it can swiftly turn into a physical altercation, especially with another man, because the threat of violence is like kind of always there if we don't really find alignment on certain things.
How do you actually? I want to dig into that, because I think the conflict comes when there's a misalignment. Like if you're ready to have a courageous conversation and then they aren't, you know what I'm saying? Then they become defensive, and then you got to have the self-awareness to know when to pull back, etc. But how do you then be in relationship or for guys? Because I think this is a thing. I'm not saying it is a thing, but I think a lot of the things that I see come up is men don't typically correct each other or correct each other. And I think for that reason, because you want to avoid conflict. So how do you determine the difference between what is a courageous conversation, and especially in business where egos are like through the roof, right? So how do you determine if it's a courageous conversation or conflict in business, and how do you work around that then? Because I think to your point, that is a real thing.
Yeah, I think what I can only really speak from my own experience. Like growing up in the South Side, I grew up in the hundreds, and I got to correct my bio because the neighborhood I grew up in specifically was Morgan Park. It's next to Roseland though, but it's Morgan Park specifically. But anyways, but growing up in the hundreds, I you know, you fought a lot. You know what I'm saying? At least I did growing up as a kid because of just I had a very pretty sister and just is what it was. And then dudes were always quick to pick on me, some light skin and something like that. So it was like this chip on the shoulder type things. Like if I saw a conversation going a certain way, and the first thing I'm thinking in my head, like, oh, I ain't no B word. You know what I'm saying? I ain't no punk. So I'm about to stand my ground. Like, what's up? So thinking I'm being courageous because I'm ready to fight was what I'm thinking like a courageous conversation might be. But really
perceive it to be first.
Right, what I received to be first. But then growing up and having some maturity, especially once I got into the art scene and had to deal with adversity on the art scene where, it was people talking about me behind my back and things like that. And I would approach these people with that same type of mentality that I had in the hundreds to help me survive. But realizing like this is not going to help you survive in this environment. This might actually get you in trouble, B. So you got to like use your words more, right? You got to, and for me, I was never quick to want to use my words because growing up I had like a speech impediment. So it kind of, if I had to talk too much, or talk while being frustrated or talk while having a lot of emotions involved, a stutter or something like that come out and it just would irritate me and be like, oh, look what you made me become, or whatever. So as I grew older and learned how to control my emotions more and really breathe more, then I could like start having better courageous conversations and control my emotions when things happen. And then when it comes to like being around the men, I would say for men, for a large part, we do correct each other quickly, and it has to be done in a way with a lot of respect because again, we know if we say something disrespectful to another person, again, that threat of violence is there, and any real man knows they're not gonna pull it with nobody because like we talk, when we get amongst men, we say all the time like. Real men, we're not gonna try to punk nobody because we're not trying to hurt ourselves. Because I get into a fight, okay, hey, I might win, but I might still break a hand. I might get a scratch in the face, something like whatever. Like violence or the pain can still get bestowed upon me while I'm trying to, hurt somebody in the process. So like, you're not really trying to do all that. There's no point. Now, when you're younger, you full of testosterone and you trying to prove yourself. That's not really a manly thing. That's really being emotional, in that sense. And that's something that a lot of people get confused when they see young guys or men like starting to like get like real heightened and stuff like that. You acting real emotional. You're not really controlling yourself, because if you really were, you wouldn't be going back and forth. You'll know when to exit. You would exit the conversation before it even starts to yell. Or if the person yelling at you, you don't got to respond. You can walk away. And you just go ahead like, oh, hey, my brother, hey, you got it. Hey, you right. I'm wrong, you're right. I'm gonna walk away because, again, if we get physical, I don't want to hurt myself trying to hurt you. You know what I'm saying? But I do know that I'm not going to. I do know I'm going home. I do know that.
Right.
I'm not. My life is not in here with this foolishness. I'm going home. So either I'll walk away from it and just And for me, again, I don't. You can say whatever you want to say about me. Like, you can call me all the type of names you want, But if you gonna put your hands on me, we good. I'm gonna walk away. We straight. Now if I gotta protect my family, it's something different. But I feel like amongst men, there is for the large part, especially with your guys, they correct you in a heartbeat, quick. And it sometimes looks like in the form of roasting each other. A little like crack a joke or something like that.
So, what we think.
Yeah, it's might crack a joke like I mean, many times, at least my peer group, we will quickly correct each other. And if it's not, and they also like if you're around people who are just as motivated and determined as you are, that really want to grow, then they know they need correction. They need to know when they're doing wrong. Like one of my best friends, him and I were the business partners for a long time. All we did was correct each other and had major conversations and even major blow-ups about the corrections that either him or I were trying to bestow on each other. And it's like, and I feel like I've always felt real. Uh, I've always thought it was really cool how sometimes I could find myself in a very heated debate with someone because I'm calling them out, or vice versa, they're calling me out, and it can get heated. And then once it's done, we're still friends. We're still good. You know, we can move on. You know, I didn't take that with so much appreciation back in the day, but now I do because I see just how powerful that is. Because I was talking to one of my mentors, and I asked him, I'm like, yo, so like I know, because like you like CEO of this big nonprofit, like I know it's be some in them back offices when things ain't going right. It's like, how do you deal with having like a heated, passionate conversation with somebody on accountability while they trying to correct you or vice versa, and then still get work done at the end of the day? And he was like, yo, it's the common goal there is that we both want to improve. At least we should both want to improve. And now if we both want to improve, then we know all we did was just correct that. All we did was still sharpen steel. It was a good sword fight in a sense. Was still sharpen steel. And it came out in a balanced way where I understood you, you understood me, you understand that I'm not gonna I'm not gonna cross your line and you're not gonna cross my line. Or I'm not gonna lie you to and you're not gonna lie me to. So now we got a good working relationship and we can move forward with that. You know, and I think that's always was a cool thing once I realized like the importance of that. And that once again, that taught me working at a nursing home, taught me that when I had to work with different coworkers, you know, and there's always passionate conversation because we're dealing with kids' lives, you know, like really impacting these children's lives. And if we make one wrong decision, this kid can veer off in a certain way. And it's like, who's right, who's wrong? You know, we gotta, like, you know, it's like, well, we gotta make a decision. Well, who decision we go with? Well, let's figure this out. Well, why is your decision better than mine? Well, not so much better, but why is this maybe the preferred decision over this preferred decision? And one person can be very passionate about it, and another person can too, and all the other things. So, yeah.
I'm wondering then how does it, because I know that we've talked about like a lot of different things. We're like an hour and 26 minutes in, but I kind of want to bring this all back to the art, because one thing that you noted earlier, and I agree with, is just everything is connected, right? And how you do one thing is how you do everything. So we've kind of like gone in and out of like the business, your home life, and just to see like, and how you deal with friends and all of those other things, just to see how they're all connected, right? In your thinking. And so it's like when we bring that back to art, how does all of these things work together, you know, to influence the type of art that you do, and the way that you do it?
Yeah, I think, and just to like go back for a second, I just realized like I think I'm harder on my friends than I am on anybody else in my life, because I think with like business partners, you kind of already at least, you know, when you choosing right, you come into we come with a person that's already kind of on the same level of thinking as you, and the same goals. You know, it's a goal setting thing, right? But with friends, you choose your friends in a way that's like more lackadaisical. So for me, I'm always more hard on my friends, I think, because I'm like, listen, if you just want to be a nonchalant person in my life where I can get to call you, you get to call me, nigga, I mean, my bad, bro, you better be on par. You know what I'm saying? Like we gotta be on par with each other, because like, you know, I'm doing great things in this world. I'm connecting with this, and I got business partners who accomplish these things. So like, we gotta be on par. So I think I might be a little bit more hard on those friendships, at least when it comes to holding them accountable, than any other area. Not to say I don't hold other people in the other areas of my life accountable. I think I'm just more intentional
With your friend.
with a friendship, because that's like a person gonna be in my life every day type. You know, business partners, they may come and go, but friendships,
You know what it is for me?
that,
Sorry to cut you off, but I think I'm learning that that's probably not always true, because with friendships and with business, I think any relationship outside of yourself is it's always going, I think, go back to what Vanessa always talks about. It's going to always go back to alignment. And I used to be that person who was like really hard on my friends, like, do this, because I really selfishly want you to be around me and what I'm doing. Because, like, to your point, you got all of these things going on. So I want you to be here. But what I've also found is you don't have to convince people or be hard on people who want it for themselves. You know what I'm saying? They kind of figure it out. And then for me, it's helped me because that's a lot of extra energy that I'm giving out to others that really could just be going back to myself. Because in those same things that I'm begging them to be accountable for, a lot of the times I'm not actually doing it myself the way that I could. And so it's like, I just noticed, like, whatever I started saying to my friends, I stopped saying to them and I started taking my own advice. And then I realized, like, whoever was going to be around is going to be around. And sometimes it's okay to let it go. And then also time is going to do its thing. And when you come back together, if you should you come back together, you will, you know.
The game to me, you jumped in for life. No.
Yeah, but
you're right. I agree with you.
It's hard to manage that because because we're all still growing on our own path. Like we're on our own journeys at the end of the day, right? Yeah. So it's like, yes, you're my friend, but your journey could just be so different in this moment. And I got to be okay, accept it. I got to be okay with it. And so I can release it sooner so I can just be grateful for the times that we do have before it goes left. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I've learned that I can't do that. You got to do that for you.
That's real. Yeah. I feel that. I can agree with that too. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to do that for you. What was I going to say? So back to the art, because I really want to get into this work that you have done and still be respectful. So are we good with like 15 more minutes, y'all?
Yeah.
Yes?
I can do 15.
15? Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. So let's get into the art and the work you've done. I mean, you said it. You painted the most murals around Chicago. You believe?
Well, no, in Austin specifically. I ain't gonna give myself the credit of Chicago, although I'm going for the title though. But
period.
In Austin, for sure.
What has this journey been like? Because I think that a lot of the times when we hear artists, it's transitioned a lot to social media, like creator, digital creator, those things. But when we hear artists like you, I don't know that it's still respected. It's respected, but I don't know that it's still revered the way that it should be. The way that it should be. So what has it been like to create a life just through your art, from your art?
It's I mean, for me, it's my passion, so I love it. Again, I focus on the process more than anything. So the process is like getting up and painting. The process is getting up and, one of the first things I do is when I do wake up is I journal. Because again, like early on, my gateway into art, like my gateway drug was writing poetry and writing short stories and journaling. So that has never left me. Journaling has never left me. Writing short stories when I feel the expression to do comes, and then poetry comes so naturally to me now. It's crazy. I can freestyle poetry anytime. Like, tell me to do that right now, I can do it. It's like, so it's just that's all like kind of just who I am now. And then journaling is my therapy. It helps me get all the thoughts that I need to get out that's not quite what I need for the day on this piece of paper, and I can just go and just whatever. Or it helps me just kind of realign what I am thinking about and what it is I want to do, and think about processes to make it happen. And so for me, it looks like that. And then again, it looks like me writing out every single thing, and I do me every single thing that I have to do and accomplish, so I can get a large scope of what it is I got to do, and I can see it on paper and not just have it just like running around in my mind, and then throwing it up on my calendar and just playing calendar chess with my.
But how has it been to make a living? Like a pay?
Making a living of making a living of it for me it's great.
It's the part that we don't really talk about with art, and I think a lot of artists get stagnant in the business aspect of it, just because they really get caught up in the passion and it feels good part. So now when it comes down to doing business and commissions and all of those things, it becomes a different language that a lot of artists don't know still.
I was intentional about learning business though, and still am about learning business, because once I realized that being an artist, being a full-time artist was really fundamentally you being an entrepreneur, then I was like, oh shit, man, I need to learn business. And then once I looked at like, going through my YouTube university, once I like looked at YouTube, like all like these big artists who have sustainability throughout these years of being number one in their field or whatever, and have decades of in wealth of art, and how they structure their studios and how they structure this like as a corporation or a business or mini whatever. It's like, okay, again, this is a business, so it's functionally it has to function as a business the way all businesses function. So I need to make sure things are in order. I got to make sure, the taxes. Got to make sure there's, make sure my legal lease is good. I got to make sure that that I have again like structure and way in which I create my artwork, and especially when it comes to like, pulling on big projects, and I might have to manage a team to help me do it. So I had to learn like, and then selling and marketing. So I took jobs early on. Like that's when my friends see me. I was the man at many jobs. I took jobs early on to figure out like, okay, I got to market. So how do I market? Let's get a marketing job. So I got a marketing job. I got to sell. Let's get a sales job. So I got a sales job. I got to, learn people. Let's take a job as a social worker. So all of these things has helped me to learn and be good at business now, because I was intentional about doing this. But then again, I did at a fairly young age knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. Like I've always known that. So I took that road. And even like when your senior class picture, you take your senior class picture, it says your name, then what it is you want to be. Some people say police officer, some people say mayor, whatever. Mine literally says entrepreneur. So I knew straight up in high school that I was going to be an entrepreneur. So I already had some direction. So I'm grateful for that. So with that said, it's like I'm constantly learning that the process is the only thing that matters. And in that process, you could be up and you could be down. Now, what you do when you down matters just as much as when you're up. And when you up matters the most though, because we can get real excited when we be up 10, 20, 30, 50, 60, 100 grand, whatever it is. It's like, oh, I got this money, y'all. We good. Like, hey, drink some on me. Or, hey, you need some? Hey, to those men in the corner, here a little $100 right here for you, bro. You got, I got it. You got it. It's like, and like for me, I got a big heart, so I have a real giving spirit. So I was like, nah, bro, like, slow it down, okay? Because another part of that is financial literacy, and what does it mean to be financial literate? Because for a large part, I was definitely illiterate when it came to finances, and I want to say for the last 5 years, 6 years, is when I started making the most money I've ever made when it came to my art, right? And then, but then with the last 2 years, maybe 2 to 3 years, were even more than the last other two. You know what I'm saying? Was even more, so it stepped up. So I'm like, oh my god, like okay, let's slow it down a little bit, B. Okay, there's money coming in, but it doesn't come in like a 9 to 5, right? It comes in bulks, right? Like, so how you deal with money when it comes in bulks? You just can't be like, I'm thinking like if I'm up 10 G's, but I got a whole year left, I'm not up 10 G's. Okay,
right.
I gotta separate that. I gotta separate that by each month. So really I'm negative, because if I'm 10 G's in 12 months, I'm where the other $2,000 at? You know what I'm saying? I need to be for every month to be covered, right? So I'm really down. So let me keep working so I can get up. So that's when I really start changing my mind. Like, okay,
that's a great perspective.
Yeah, let me change my money mindset to, okay, what do I need like fundamentally? Food, shelter, water, right? So how much does all this cost? My phone bill, right? That's essential, right? What does all this cost to have for like a year, 6 months to a year? Okay, let's save up to that, and then that's the first goal. If I can save up to 6 months on all these things, that's food, gas, phone bill, shelter, okay, and then and maybe there's some clothes here and there, because I don't know, I got some athletic thighs, so I get holes in my pants a lot. So we gotta add that into the mix, whatever, right? So that's just me. You got a family, that's you times how many people's in your family, honestly,
right?
So bet 6 months, that's the first goal. Once you get to 6 months, okay, let's do it for the year. Once you get to a year, let's do it for at least 3 years, and then there, for my mind, it's like, okay. And at the same time, I'm investing in small portions into my investments accounts, my S&P, my crypto, stuff like that too. in small amounts. But once I started to like get close to that 3 year, I'm increasing that investment amount. Now, the only reason why I do for 3 years because again, I have a family. If it was just me, I wouldn't do it quite like that. I'll do it I'll do it a little sooner. But I gotta make sure everybody good. And then also, we homeschool our children. So we also got to take into consideration time spent with them going to like a camp or something like that, or time spent away, or maybe we bring somebody home to help us clean it, help us teach some kids anything. So like it just, help is, a little bit more in the expense column. Mm-hmm. So that's how I be thinking now when it comes to like when it comes to when I'm getting these large sums of money from doing these projects, because I've gotten a project, and I'm like, oh my God, this is the most money I've had in my life. And again, I thought I was up, and I was like, no, I got a whole year left. And by the time the year was over, I was down. I was down bad. Mm-hmm. I was bad. I was like, bruh, what happened? And like, I'm like, you know what happened? You thought you was up.
What do you want your legacy? Oh, I'm sorry, Vanessa. I'm just wondering with the art, like, what do you? But go ahead, because I was about to change a whole different thing. What were you gonna say, Vanessa?
I was just gonna say I really like how you're creating systems to like hold your life, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that's essential when it comes to artists. And I think a lot of artists don't consider that, right? Because it is about being in the space of creation. But you're right, like when you're an artist, you're an entrepreneur, and you have to create those systems that help you thrive, but it also helps you to contain all of these things that you got going on that you're juggling, right? So I think it's really important to have those systems in place. I watched my dad. My dad was he was a photographer. He had his own business for most of my life, most of my teenage life, right? And he didn't have a business sense in that way, right? Like he could get the business, but for him to hold it and to have those systems in place, he didn't have it. So like one of the things that I've always been interested in is to be able to help artists with that, because I think that's how you're able to sell your art while you're alive. You know what I mean? Like I know so many artists that became famous after they died. You know what I mean?
Right.
It is partly because they didn't have those systems in place. So it's really great that you're putting those systems in, and you're able to just be able to sell your work while you're still here and be able to thrive in it.
I'm grateful for that too. I'm grateful for the fact that I get to sell my work while I'm alive. People really, I was talking to Brittany, I was stressed the other day because like I missed a deadline. I'm at the point where back in the day I missed a deadline, like whatever, I missed a deadline. But I'm at a point now where I missed a deadline, I'm about ready to cry. Like I missed the deadline. Oh my God. Like, and I was really hard on myself. And Britt was like, B, but you're like really high in demand right now. Like you gotta like just be grateful for that. Like you're in high demand. I'm like, dang, right, okay. I can receive that and be appreciative that I am in high demand, because at one point it wasn't like that. And I think the systems are really in place just to really help artists to control our excitement, because when we're excited, that's when the most money gets spent. Whether you on the higher end of excitement, being happy, or the lower end, angry or sad or ashamed of excitement, you are going to spend money. So it's like learning to like live within this middle part of excitement. It's like you be excited, I was just like, I'm excited, y'all. Because I look like this, I'm spending money. I'm good. I'm excited, y'all. Good job, y'all. Good job. What's up? That's good.
Yes, I hate it because it's like, are you for real? Are you really happy with this or no?
Right.
Like, are we serious or no?
Right.
No, for real. I'm excited.
Yeah. You're right.
Like, bro, but with your art, as we start to wrap this up, what do you want people to, your legacy to be with it? What is the message that you are spreading with it?
I think for me, like I know I stand on the shoulders of like all my ancestors that came before me to do something impactful for not only our people but for humanity itself. I want my legacy to be one that impacted humanity for all the right reasons. I always start with our people because we've been the ones, for the most part, have been the most disenfranchised. But at the same time, I'm talking to a human experience. I'm talking to all humans all across the world who need some light, who just need a little spark to realize their dreams and passions and to go get it and to help others with that along the way, help them as well to spark their light and just do this chain reaction where we can really elevate as a human race. I always think of the human race as a fist, you know what I'm saying? All your different ethnic groups with all the fingers. But if one finger is gone, then the hand's not really operable. So I feel like if as a human race we can get every ethnic group, to a point where where it's no longer like trying to hold one person down to be up. I feel like as a human race we're gonna like accelerate to a whole nother shift of consciousness, which I would love to see. Might not see it in my lifetime, maybe my kids' lifetime, but I want to be one of the people who started it. I might have started the car, that help, and that car is the car that drives us to the future. But I just want to somehow, some way, be a part of that, to the best of my ability.
Yeah,
that's dope.
yeah,
That's dope.
I love that. So, what do you have coming up? I know that you are pushing yourself. Really putting yourself out there. I don't know if we could talk about the show or whatever. Okay, yeah. So you're planning your solo show, and I think this is dope. It's about time. What does it feel? So give us a little bit about that as we start to wrap this up. This first show, what does it mean to you to, why right now, why now? And how can people be in touch with you so that they can be on the lookout for all of those things?
Yeah, I'm excited. So this is my first show with a major gallery, well-known gallery here in Chicago, and it's like a dream come true. It's very surreal because like I know this show is like one of those shows that's gonna like put me into another stratosphere when it comes to this art, a whole another another level that I'm gonna achieve with this art. And this is always that imposter syndrome that comes up too, as a being just this natural thing. You're human, right? And as a person who escaped from the poverty mindset years ago to where it might those little small little demons or whatever might try to pop up, and like, nah, you gotta let it pass. You can just focus on fully creating and being the best self. So like at first it was like, okay, boom, I'm gonna do it. And it's like, oh shit, the realization is I'm doing this. Oh shit, I'm really doing this. It's like you're on a roller coaster. Oh shit, I'm really doing this, right?
Oh,
So you're driving it. And so for me, I'm excited, right? I'm super excited. And my tendencies when I get excited is that I get a little scatterbrained because I want to do everything. So it's like I gotta bring it in. I'm grateful that I got a manager now to help me like hone myself in, and then even get Brittany helping me with with my emails and stuff like that. Like really really taking in this business and really like putting it on wheels. And so getting this team around, and then even my kids help me with the art sometimes in the background. You know what I'm saying? So like I realized like the only way this is going to work is if everyone who is connected to me is on this train with me.
All hands on deck.
And all hands on deck. And it's not so much like you gotta only focus on my business, but it's like, no, like, this is a business that's being built to be a foundational business for everyone else. That's within my ecosystem as far as my family goes. So that's the main thing. It's like, as I say, what's up? Let's take it.
Hey.
So, hey.
You're like, what?
You're like, what is going on? What can you expect to experience for this? This is your first show, so I know it means everything. Like, what can people expect to experience?
An amazing show, some artwork that in style of which it's not really. I don't think no one's really doing. I feel like my artwork is something that's always a conversation piece. I like for me, I like to bring conversations in. I like to bring opposing conversations and meet them in the middle, right? So you may be, a Democrat, you might be Republican, but you're gonna meet in the middle when you come to my show. You might believe in God, might not believe in God, but you're gonna meet in the middle when you come to my show. You're gonna, again, that's the human experience is conversation. If there is no conversation, then large part of times then there's some type of discourse. And discourse can lead to, as we know, violence, wars, etc. So if I can find a way for us to meet in the middle, then there's a conversation happening. And I really want conversation to happen because I feel like there's so much going on in the world. It's overwhelming, and I changed it. I changed the show a couple of times because I wanted to just connect on everything that's going on in the world, and also what's connecting with me. Like I'm seeing these things, I'm feeling these things. I'm like, I gotta change it. In the show is called The People, because without the people, this world wouldn't matter. None of this matters without us. So I want to celebrate some people. I'll be painting portraits of abstract portraits of some people. I'll be painting abstracts pieces of some famous people, some notable, some people we know, some people may not know. But I'll be bringing some stories and telling a lot of stories with my paintings and my artwork and my performances. So.
Okay, this is my last thing, just because I want to be able to use this clip in the future. So I just want to envision, because I know you're the perfect person to do. This is the night of your show is over and you're the last person in the studio. I mean, you're the last person there. What are you saying to yourself right after it's finished and it's a huge success? Like, what
I fucking did it.
Do it.
That's what I'm gonna say to myself, because it's the process. I'm gonna really feel it.
Say it to yourself now. Say what you would say to yourself, and let's end like that. Or
yo, Barry, you did it. Like you said all these years. I might even cry because when you tell yourself you're gonna do it and you really stick to it.
I want to hear.
You're gonna tell yourself. I'm like, Barry, you did it. Like you said you was gonna stick to this art. People doubted you. People didn't believe in you, but you believe in yourself. You came in, you ripped up your paintings at one point, you ripped up your goals at one point. You had people like your twin sister come back and tape it all together and tell you believe in yourself. Like you did it. Like you stayed 10 toes down, you cried through it, you bled through it, you fought through it, you had children in the process. Like you did it. You had breakups, you had makeups, you had success in the process. Like you stayed 10 toes down in the process. You did it. You did it. And you're gonna do it again, you're gonna do it again, you're gonna do it again, you're gonna do it again. And that's what I'm gonna say to myself. That's the real shit.
Can I just say one thing that I'm hearing that I think is an important part of this conversation is practice. And practice is doing it over and over and over and over and over and over again, right? And over the years, when we started this conversation, you started talking about what impacted you and what influenced you to do art, and then just continuing to do it and refining yourself and evolving yourself to now creating this show for yourself. And I just want to say that practice that you're in is inspirational. I'm inspired and moved by how you have continued this through your work ethic, how you expanded yourself, and all of this is very inspiring. So thank you for being here today and sharing with us just how you do what you do. And yeah, we're excited to be there for your show when that happens.
I know. Yes. I can't wait to have y'all there.
Yes.
So you two, y'all been very much a part of the journey. Vanessa, you've helped the journey for sure. All the times that you've invested your time in me and for me to have my art shows. I mean, not art show, but murals and stuff like that. So I thank you for all of that.
You're welcome.
Monica, you've been a person who.
Look at the double busy. I'm getting my flowers cut out. That was crazy. Let me hear what are we doing here? Crystal the whole time too. Shout out to Crystal for always joining us every Sunday.
Oh, Crystal, hey.
We appreciate you. And I don't know, we'll see if he come back because I want my flowers. But if he doesn't, his Instagram, I believe he just changed it to Barrett_Keithley. So his full name, because he said he's serious about this work now. Got to get the full name. I'm double checking. Or it's Barrett.Keithley on Instagram. I think I put it in the description as well. So you all make sure that you follow him in his journey and just everything that he has going on. I think this has been a super dope conversation. This has been the longest one we've done live. We had 1 hour and 53 minutes. But I don't know. I feel like it's just flowed, actually. It's been like a real easy. I knew it was going to be one of those conversations.
I think just because we know Barrett, and I think that it's important, like, to, have these, connection points, right? So it makes sense that this is our longest, and I think one of the best conversations we've had.
I think so. I think so too. Well, I guess we'll end it here on Sunday.
Good evening, guys.
It's really time to go now.
Who said it?
My uncle. I'm at my granny's house.
Oh, hey, uncle.
Oh, Lord.
Oh,
my God. Whenever you see the flowers, that means I'm at my granny's house.
Got you.
And she sleep, and this idiot. But so that is really time to go. Oh, wait. Here comes Barrett. Because, I need my flowers real quick. And then the devil was busy. You see how that happened?
Phone died. I mean, iPad died. But all right. So, And, I was saying, like, Vanessa, thank you so much for our experience. Everything, you being a large part as to why I got so many artworks in the West Side, and my impact on the West Side has been what it is, and then just impacting my life and my family for sure. Thank you for being one of my greatest mentors. And then Wanaki, thank you for being a person that's right hand on a lot of the missions we've been on serving our community. And also holding me accountable, because we get into our epic conversations and hard, challenging conversations, courageous conversations a lot too. So
you do.
Like a lot of that growth that I've experienced in this past couple of year or two, for sure, has been largely because of our interactions and us doing what we're doing. So thank y'all. And I'm proud of y'all for doing what y'all doing too. And y'all welcome, by the way.
Thank you, Barrett.
Crazy.
Thank you, Barrett. He made it very clear to me. He was like, "You need to talk to Monica."
He did. He said the same exact thing to me.
Like, you need to talk to her. And so we're here because of you. Thank you, Barrett. Thank you for seeing how, being the connector, right? Being that connector and seeing how we could connect to create something like this that is impacted both Wanaki and I very much. So thank you.
I'm gonna let Vanessa just say it for both of us. I don't think you need to do it twice. But I will say, one thing I appreciate about you is you don't gatekeep it. And in the same way, like, we have courageous conversations, like a lot of them for me is, you need to go outside. You need to look like something. You need to go do these things. Like, come to this event. Like, just having a friend who is in business, who's in business. It's like, no, you need to be doing these things. You need to get over yourself. Those things who will want you to have courageous conversations in general. It's just a gift. It makes you can't do anything. You know what I'm saying? I think it just accelerate with people like that around, and to see that we have created this ecosystem. I do got to give us our flowers, Vanessa and I, because I am starting to see like the ecosystem that even we're creating, where it's just more people like Barrett we get to engage with and then share too, because that's one thing Barrett does well, is he will share. Like, if it's a contact, a person, it don't matter. He let you have it. And that's it's not, I can't say that it's rare for me now, because I think most people in my ecosystem are like that. But I think for the people who don't live in an ecosystem like this, it's very rare. They don't actually get to experience it, and it's a gift. So we appreciate you.
It's called alignment. That's what it is.
Alignment, for real. It is.
Yeah.
That's the word. That's the word.
On our path, we doing it.
Yeah. That's what he says all the time. We doing it. And it's like, Yep. So I appreciate this, Barry. How can the people get in contact with you or stay up to date with what you got going on, especially as you work up to this show? I know the marketing and all of those things will start for it, but how can people keep up with you?
So I did something that was pretty courageous for me, is that I changed my Instagram name, right? From B Keithley to Barrett Keithley. One of you call me like, what you mean you changed? Like, so what? Like, nah, you understand? Like, it's been B Keithley for so long. Like, it's an identity thing, right? You get tied to certain thing. Like, and but to like, again, knowing that there's art show for me is going to take me to another stratosphere. It's like, okay, now we really got to really focus on the brand and like branding and the messaging and how, again, in alignment. So I went from B Keithley on Instagram and as an artist name to just my full name, Barrett Keithley. And so you can find me on Instagram at Barrett Keithley. That's BarrettKeithley. Well, Barrett.Keithley on Instagram. So BarrettKeithley. So check me out.
Awesome.
My website
is artist to change his artist name from one thing to the other.
Well, the first to change my I might change to a simple next. Watch out.
Oh my God.
And then I'm what else? Then my website is my name is Barrett Keithley, www.barrettkeithley.com. And yeah, so like I'm taking some leaps and getting things done. I'm in the process, y'all, and I'm happy to be here. And I'm happy I got friends along the journey.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You got us. We're here with you.
Yeah. I'm excited for this first show, actually. I think it's how dope is it to say that, oh, I'm the friend of the artist whose show this is. I can't wait to just do that for myself. I'm just kidding.
Right?
No.
And it was cool is I got a whole month of programming. I got like almost 2 months of programming. So I got the solo show, which will be February 20th. And then it'll be up until April. So I got all that time to program the space, centered around the artwork and things like that. So I get to really like show up in a big way and bring out all of my talents, my resources, everything to really sell this for that whole couple months that the show was up. So yeah. And then also next year in the summertime, I'll have an exhibit up at the Chicago History Museum. And as a proud Chicagoan to be having a exhibit at the Chicago History Museum is a whole another like, kudos to myself that I'm grateful for. That's gonna be dope. So I'll be creating a piece that honors the 250 years that the Constitution has been around.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Congratulations on all your accomplishments. Barrett is also on my board, so so there's another connection there, another connection point. So
another thing.
Yeah. So like this is great. It's great. This was a great conversation. Great to be with you. Thank you for everything that you do and what you create in the world.
Yes.
Thank you.
Shout out to Brittany too, because I think it can't be emphasized enough, like partnership, teamwork, making a dream. Doesn't get emphasized enough. So definitely shout out to her for the work that she does.
And every strong man is a strong Black woman.
That part.
Yes.
Go
ahead, Brittany.
Okay. Well, all right, y'all. All right.
She can hear y'all too. So what's up? She be in shy and shit.
No. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
The whole time she be looking at me like this. You been there, so you been there. What's up? She been throwing gang signs like this whole time. Anytime she see me look off camera, she's saying something to me. I'm like, I'm sorry. Okay, I will. Brittany runs the house. She's in charge.
No, but it's teamwork make the dream work, and we got to emphasize that more. In the streets, because that's just how it works.
No, it is a team. Like I think for us, we realized within this last year more than anything is we are a team. Okay, it'd be days we love each other, and then days we don't like each other at all.
Yeah,
so it's a team for sure. Yeah.
Hey, girl,
hey, good to see you.
Yes, I love this.
Yes,
but okay, you got the baby in one hand or holding the phone in the other. We appreciate you. We appreciate your time.
I appreciate y'all. All right. Till next time.
Right.
And
till next time.
Only y'all can get me up at 8:30 in the morning on a Sunday. Okay. I'm gonna throw that out there too.
It's practice time. No, I'm just kidding.
What I got?
It's practicing.
It's practicing, yeah, for sure. Cause I'm like 8:30 a.m.
Yes. But these practice runs you're gonna be on, and you're gonna have to be up at call time gonna be at 5 a.m., 6 a.m. So this is what we're doing. We preparing the people, Vanessa. This is practice early.
Boom.
Yes.
This is practice. Yes. But all right, y'all.
All right.
Have a good one.
Yes.
Say bye.